Hello, my friend. It's your man, Will Murphy, coming to you with my 5 lessons from intermittent fasting, how it can help you lose weight, improve your energy, and just makes it easier to achieve your goals, not only in health and fitness, but hopefully in every other area of your life. Let's get rolling. Basically, intermittent fasting is, picking a set amount of time, set amount of hours per day to basically not eat. Intermittent fasting doesn't necessarily fall under a certain parameters for food. It more so just about what hours of the day that you're eating. So, for example, the more common one has been called the lean gains method, which is just 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours of a feeding window. So, for example, you could choose 12, like noon to 8 p.m. as your eating window, and then the other hours, so like 8 p.m. after 8 p.m. until 12 noon the next day is your fasting window, so you can eat in those hours. There's tons of different fasting styles that I'm not even going to get into because I think it'll detract away from the benefits. And I'm going to be covering the fasting style that I basically use, which is, sometimes it's a 14-hour fast, 16-hour fast. It's something that I've done for such a long time, so I don't really track it. There are apps to actually help you count the hours, but here are the 5 lessons that I've learned after about 4 years of doing intermittent fasting. So here are my 5 benefits with a bonus at the end, which you're going to want to stick around for. Here we go. So number 1 is that you're going to break a lot of mental barriers with intermittent fasting. What do I mean by that? I think the first thing that I noticed when I started intermittent fasting, when I was at college, and then also when I was, came back home from college, was that the people around me, it was really hard for them to wrap their heads around it. There's a common belief out there that you're supposed to eat every 3 hours, every 3 square meals a day, which is like so interesting because if you get up at 8 o'clock, you're gonna eat at 8, then you come back and eat at 11, and then you're gonna eat at 2, and then 5, and then at 8 again, which is just excessive. 6 meals a day. It's just like, gosh, I eat 2 meals a day, and even there's times where I'm like, geez, I don't have that much time in a day. It's like, how do you get anything done? Gosh, I want to take like 3 naps with that meal schedule. But anyways, if you're looking to improve your energy, productivity, just feel better, this diet's going to really help you in a lot of those areas. Intermittent fasting is fairly simple, which is great. What I'll tell you to do, just skip breakfast. Skip breakfast, have lunch, have dinner, maybe a snack, nothing too big, nothing over like 300 or 400 calories, really. Just want to keep it small. But lunch and dinner. You can have a bigger lunch, bigger dinner, but just no breakfast. What I found is that people are like, oh my gosh, will I even be able to think in the morning without my breakfast? I'm going to be starving, or, am I going to feel sick, or will I want to throw up or faint? What happens is some people may feel hungry, especially the first couple of days. There's there's a phase of just adapting to the new style of eating. It might take a day or two, might take you, some people up to a week. I think the worst thing that kind of comes from it is some people might get headaches, but really that's the problem is because of a lack of water. So you have to drink more water. Having to eat every 3 hours is a bit exhausting. 6 meals a day is a bit exhausting. A lot of people believe this though, because it's, been programmed into us with bodybuilding. The people in fat loss marketing are really good at telling us things that are largely myth. You don't need to eat 6 meals a day, but they want you to do that because they think they'll be able to sell you more products, more protein supplements, and different things to help you. But if you just eat 2 meals a day and they're the calories that you need, your brain and your body isn't going to really care. It's going to recover just the same. What you'll find is a lot of your fears are up in your head. Most of them are. If you just try this, even for like a month, 2 months, set out a little bit of time, do it 5 days a week or something like that, where you just try this, I think even if you don't keep up for the long term, it'll break a lot of mental barriers that you have around food and that you have around having to eat certain times throughout the day. Number 2, you're gonna like this one, is that the fact that weight loss is really easy. Like I said, when you skip breakfast and you just have lunch and dinner, what I find is that for myself and then for a lot of the people that I watch and coach, is that many people are going to lose weight just naturally because it's hard to just skip a meal and make it up for it in the other meals. Now there's times, I've been there myself, there's times where you have a big meal, big snack, and it's easy to take down 2,000, 3,000 calories just in that meal alone. I've been there. But with a mindful approach, being busy in other areas of your life, it's easy to lose weight and not even feel it because you're satisfied from the lunch and dinner meals because they're more satisfying. What I've also found, and this can be anecdotal, but it can also, I found research to support this, is the fact that when you fast, your stomach isn't going to be the same size. It shrinks a little bit because it has elasticities to it. The stomach isn't big. It's about the size of a fist, maybe a little bit larger. So you don't want to, when you constantly stretching it out, what happens is it stays stretched out. But when you fast, same thing happens. It's elastic, so it slowly comes back in. And when you do have that lunch meal and break your fast, you're not going to be, you might be hungry, but you're going to fill up much faster as opposed to having a breakfast and a lunch. You know, your stomach is a little bit more receptive that way. And along with weight loss being easy, you're much more aware to the foods that you're putting into your system and how your body reacts. If you're skipping breakfast altogether, most people like that lean feeling in the morning because your testosterone's higher, you just have a nice bit of rest, and even if you're active in the morning, you feel better because there hasn't been an insulin response in the morning just yet. You haven't had any sugar, haven't had any food, so your body is going to store body fat for energy for your system. Number 3 is all about productivity. My best work is done when I'm fasting. Early in the morning, when I get up about 8 or 9, I can get so many things done first thing in the morning that, you know, it feels good to be productive. I enjoy the lunch meal a little bit more. And my mental clarity, I find, is much better. You'd think it'd be the opposite. Now, when you first start adapting, it might be a little weird because not only do you have extra time, but you feel a little lighter. Your body's used to food, so that's going to be a little tough. But once you get used to it, what you'll find is that your focus is better. And, you know, going back to the dawn of time, your mental clarity should be better because if you think about it, if you got hangry every time you didn't have a meal after 3 hours, you wouldn't survive. if you needed to eat apples and berries and kill a boar every 3 hours for food, you wouldn't have survived. Number 4 is you got to drink a lot of water. If you're underhydrated already, intermittent fasting, you've got to crank it up a notch. Half your body weight in ounces. So I'm about 150 pounds. I do about 75 ounces of water a day. But when you are fasting, your body doesn't hold on to water quite as much. Basically, carbs and salt soak water up. So when you don't have quite a bit of that in your system, when you've already digested that and broken it down, your body doesn't really hold on to water as much because it's not as necessary. There's no reason, you know, otherwise you just sound like a sack of water. Every time you walk around, you hear something, like you ever have water in your shoes, you just hear it. Your body doesn't work like that. So one thing that's really worked well for me is in the morning, I'll have about 16 to 30 ounces of water. I put a little bit of Himalayan pink salt, and I'll drink that throughout the course of my morning, which will hold quite a bit of water in me so I don't end up peeing it out, because what you find is you'll pee a lot in the fasted state when you drink a lot of water. What happens if I'm dehydrated in the fast and I don't really know it is once I have a meal, I won't pee for a while and I'm starting to get tired and things like that, because all your energy, all your water, all your enzymes are going to digest the food that you just took in. You want to make sure that you have enough water in you already. Number 5, before our very special bonus, is the fact that the best diet is the diet that works for you. The very cool thing about intermittent fasting is that it's not necessarily a diet. It has nothing to do with the foods that you eat. Obviously, you want to eat healthful foods that are going to serve you, but intermittent fasting doesn't really get into that. There are, I think, 4,000 something hundred books on the best diet and diets in general, and there has never really been a one-size-fits-all for diets. It just doesn't work like that. Keto, paleo, Atkins, vegan, they all work in their own very different respects, but if you are someone who doesn't digest fat very well, and you know your triglycerides are high in general, you've got bad cholesterol, I'm not going to put you on keto, because I'm not going to have you eating bacon every morning for breakfast. That's just going to exacerbate any problems that we already have. So that doesn't work like that, unfortunately. In their own respects, they work very well. You know, low carb works for a lot of people. Certain people don't really do well from that at all. There's certain people who don't really digest protein well, and they have to have lower levels of protein in their diet. In terms of food, you have to eat the foods that work best for you, and you know, talk to your doctor, find out what gives you the most energy, what helps you, what you digest very well, what gives you a lot of mental clarity, and what fogs your brain up. Dairy, gluten, lots of alcohols and sugars and processed stuff, usually that's not conducive to healthy system. Skin as well. What food makes you break out? Think of cookies as pimples. When you eat cookies, you're gonna break out. So our very special bonus is the fact that you may not be as hungry as you were previously. The cool thing with intermittent fasting, I've noticed, especially for myself and a lot of my coaching clients out as well, is that they are not victims to their hunger pains as much. In the beginning, through the adaptation phase, it might be a little bit different, but after you get a week, 2 weeks, a month under your belt, you'll find that you're much more attuned with your body. As we talked about previously, you're more aware of your hunger hormone and hunger sensations. And the other really cool thing about that is that you're not a victim to your body. You've broken past that mental barrier to say, okay, this isn't hunger. I'm just, maybe I just didn't digest something well. I have to have more water. What people don't realize is that hunger can often be confused with dehydration. If you have a glass of water and wait 10, 20 minutes, hunger sometimes goes away. And that's the really cool thing about it. Intermittent fasting allows you to become more aware of the sensations of your body and allows the mind-body connection to strengthen in a lot of ways. Hope you find this video helpful, my friends. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.